Hi, today we are going to talk about art of conversation using transactional analysis. What is transactional analysis? It was a theory propagated by a psychologist called Eric Berne in 1920s. So what Eric Berne says that a human mind, while conversing with somebody, is in either of the three states. So he describes these ego states as P, that is parental ego state, A as adult ego state, and C as child ego state. Okay, so PAC, parent, adult and child, versus the other person also has the same three ego states called parent, adult and child. So if a person says that, today you're late for the office, I demand an explanation. What ego state he is in? He is in parent's ego state, and that too a critical parent's ego state. At that point of time, if the answer is, okay, I'm sorry, but I'll ensure that this doesn't go well, that means that the other person has accepted that ego state of parent and has come to the ego state of child and then having a conversation. This is called as reciprocal conversation, where I accept your ego state of a critical parent and I accept my own ego state as an adaptive child, and both of us are reciprocating each other by accepting each other's ego states. At the same time, if I refuse to, something like if an employee says, okay, when the boss asks him, why are you late to the office? He says, well, I had already informed about it, isn't it? That means that his ego state at this moment is adult. He says, look, I'm not a child. I refuse your parent ego state, and then you cannot dictate me like a child. So this is called crossed conversation, okay, wherein I refuse your parental ego state and I come down and I ask you to come down to an adult ego state and treat me equally. So I want this conversation to happen between two ego states. I am an adult and you also be an adult. So this is called adult to adult conversation or parallel conversation. Then comes social conversation, wherein I want to say something but I end up saying something else. Okay, so at psychological level my ego state is something else, but at the social level my ego state is something else. Take an example wherein there is a salesman who says there's a 20% off on a particular product. Okay, what is he trying to do? He is trying to address the child ego state in the customer, and then child says wow, but at the same time he cannot directly say wow. So what he says, all right, can you explain me the features of it? And that means that though he is excited in the product, as a child he comes across on a social level as somebody, as an adult, and he is refusing to recognize that need, that he needs those discounts and those product features, so on and so forth. Okay, at that point of time the salesperson from adult tries to address his child ego state. So Eric Berne talks about identifying the ego states and then reciprocating. He often talks about giving the strokes. Okay, it's like a game of tennis. You have backhand and you have forehand. Okay, when there is forehand to forehand stroke, the rallies get completed. In the same fashion, if I take up one state and there is a reciprocal state, that means we can have a good conversation. But if I refuse your ego state and I ensure that I put across my ego state, this clearly means it's a crossed conversation. And then there is a third one, which is called parabolic conversation, where Your ego state at psychological level is something else and social level is something else. The example that I gave you about a salesperson versus a person. Okay, so have this kind of conversation by identifying the ego states of a person. Then Eric Berne also talks about 4 states. I am okay, you are okay. I am okay, you are not okay. You are okay, I am not okay. I am not okay and you are not okay. So it's like a matrix, okay, where if I accept your ego state and I reciprocate, both of us have positive strokes called I am okay, you are okay. That's the first step. But if I refuse, one party refuses and he or she believes that what he says or she says, that ego state has to be accepted by the other person. That is, I am okay but you are not okay. Okay. The third one is, there is somebody who accepts the other person's ego state but refuses for acceptance of his own ego state. That is where I am not okay, you are okay comes in. And finally, when both parties refuse to acknowledge each other's ego states, that's where it comes as I am not okay and you are not okay. Okay. So while having a conversation, identify the ego states, identify the conversation and then reciprocate accordingly. These can keep changing dynamically. This identification can help you have better conversations with the people. Thank you.